ML Sports Take, brought to you by St. Bonaventure University's online Masters in Journalism. Log on to sbujournalism.com today and become a Bonnie plus CH Insurance and Batavia Downs Gaming. We thank them as well for this Duquesne St. Bonnie's recap. And this was kind of a weird game, right? I mean, I think, going into it, you kind of had the idea, all right, alumni weekend, you got the 80s thing going on. Congrats to Donna DeTota, by the way, one of the best in the business, going into the Journalism Hall of Fame wing. So well-deserved. Donna, a friend of mine and one of the best in the business. She helped set the standard in journalism. So you think about all those things. Did the student body hear that we're all crushing them in terms of not showing up and that they're not loud? I didn't even think they were that loud in this game, by the way, at the biggest moments. All of these things together, you get a week off, you're starting to get into the back end of February, you're hoping you can kind of grab lightning rather, and throw it in a bottle and see if something can happen, catch fire. And I guess this is probably a good place to start. If you're going to try to get hot here in the last couple of weeks of, I guess the season and then in the conference play, it would be at home. It would be shooting 50% from the floor. It would be taking far less three-pointers and making 8 of them, going 8 for 17. The free throws, now the rebounding was a major concern in this game, but the Bonnies got a lot of points in the paint, and they got a lot of fast break points to offset the rebounding, which was the biggest problem in the game that I had. I mean, they got beat by 15 on the boards, and it seems like some games Bonaventure will play, the 7, 8, 9 guys. Other times they won't. Hard to believe that the attendance was only 4,800 and change, by the way. Bologna and Wedlow off the bench, they gave you nothing. So you gotta, I know Bologna gave you the 6 rebound. Actually, he was probably was the best rebounder on the floor. Only gave you 2 points. So I shouldn't say that. He did a lot of the extracurricular outside of the scoring. So I take that back. But 23 minutes, giving you some time there. And the rebound certainly took care of the basketball. Good movement at least. But you really were asking a ton from your starters in a game like this, and you're up 9 at the break. And I want to go to the second half before I go to some individual statistics here. Not statistics, but individual thoughts for players. The second half, I thought the first half you played as well as you possibly could have. Let's just get that right out of the way, right? I mean, Bonaventure, they're going back and forth pretty good. And then Bonnie had a ton of great offensive possessions. And there was more of that in the second half, which I'll get to. But, Council made a jumper. And then the rotation for the Jones three-pointer with about 12 minutes to go in the half was great. You're up 17-13. They start to build a lot of momentum. You go up 6, then you go up by 8 after Jones had that dunk from Hinton, which was a great play. And then Bonaventure just really took control toward the end. I mean, you're up 6 again. You're up 11 after a couple of big time. Dinkins had the turnover. Moore had the dunk. And then right after the layup by Dixon, you're up 6 again. But then Jones nails a 3. And you're up 9. And sort of you're kind of pedaling that momentum there. And you end up 39-30, at the break with a couple of Jones free throws. And some really good, I thought, I know Jones had the foul, but they prevented Duquesne from getting easy stuff. I know Dinkins hit the three-pointer, but that was really, the three-pointer by Dinkins really was their most efficient basket of the last 4 minutes of the game, of the first half, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Now, we fast forward to the second half, and Bonaventure in this game, by the way, when you look at the turnover matchup, Duquesne had they had 10 turnovers, and Bonnie had only 7 turnovers. So neither team really turned the ball over. And Bonaventure didn't have, any costly turnovers. But what started to happen in this second half was there was a mix of poorly executed plays on offense and yet great plays on offense, right? It was so weird. And when you have that go on, when it's kind of a mixed bag, and the other team is just kind of hanging around, they're going to chip. And that's kind of what they did. Like, it got to 5, then Jones hits a 3, gets to 8. You're feeling, and then it gets back to 5 with a Hronsky three-pointer where Duquesne started to catch some fire. Ball rotation improved. They started to figure out, passing it out, in and in, out. Guys were moving better for the Dukes in the second half, I thought, big time. And then Council makes the and one. And I wanted to get to two plays. I'm going to kind of mix it together. Bonaventure had two great, I mean, they had some really, really well executed, offensive plays in this game. One of which was just under 12 minutes. It was at the TV timeout at 11:56. They come out and Brown gets the ball underneath. And it almost, I don't know if he kind of glanced corner of the eye and was like, I'm not going to go right. I mean, it was wide open. I mean, there was a defender, maybe a foot and a half, but he goes right up. I mean, can he get an easy two? Can he get a dunk? I don't know. But he was almost here and the rim's there kind of thing. So you wondered, like, in fast motion, did he look up at the corner of the eye, out of the corner of the eye and go, if I go up, I don't know if I can get it there before the defender comes to me. Wait a minute. Boom. And it was almost like the perfect play, like perfectly executed right out of the timeout. He passes to Jones wide open in the corner in front of him, and Jones buries a three. Now, that might have been the design of the play. Maybe it was to Brown first, go up and get it. I mean, I'd love to ask coaches this, but nobody will come on with me. But, Brown, you wonder if he goes up there and does he have a layup or a dunk or whatever, or, the play design wasn't that, and it was to kick it out for the three. It's hard to know. It's hard to know without asking. I can't get anybody on, so I wouldn't be able to get any information from them. But it's just, you wonder when those plays happen so perfectly, right? They come out of that, and he catches the ball, and you could go up and do it, but he decides not to, and he sees the wide open three. I don't want to do it because the defender's going to come over and get me in time, or I'm going to get rejected by the rim. Or the design was what it was, period, end of discussion. The design was what, if you're open to, nope, if he's there, go that direction. I mean, you're a foot away from the basket. Usually coaches tell you, hey, high percentage shots. Maybe they were both the option. I don't know. All I know, it was a thing of beauty. It was one of the greatest plays of the year. It was one of the best executed plays of the year. Jones drops the three. But then they come back and hit another three. And from there, I think you kind of knew it was going to be a tug of war. Council Jr. had a great play, too. I thought the Bonnies got into the mid-range and a little in. I've been yelling for that as well. Council kind of, he did one of those kind of lean, wait for it. He's waiting. A couple guys around him. He goes up. He gets hit. He makes a shot, makes a free throw. 3-point play. Big play in the game there. You go back up 850. There was another play in the second half where Chance Moore kind of goes into the mid lane, and he didn't have a lot on the wing, and he kind of read the play. The middle was open. It was spread out, and he went and he got fouled. Those kinds of things the Bonnies have got to do a lot of in the A-10 tournament, in my opinion. When you spread the floor out and you can see that the middle's there, you got to start winning the mid-range game. I thought that was a big thing, too, because then Duquesne had to account for it, and then the three-pointers started to open up. Bonaventure, I don't mind if they shoot 15 to 23s if most of them are wide open, right? This is not a team that can create a three. Sometimes you get Hinton out there making one, and then he thinks he's Steph Curry. You got to make sure you're wide open and execute most of the time. Other times, I get it. Shot clock runs down. Team plays good defense. They're forcing you to do things. I get that. But in a lot of cases, if you're open and the play is designed like maybe that Jones three, for example, okay. Now, Council Jr. hits a three, and they're just going back and forth. Bona's up 9. Again, you're feeling good again. Then you're not. Crawford hits a three, and it's just back and forth. Great layup by Moore at 4:39. But at this point now, and that was a huge bucket because, Crawford made a jumper and cut it to 2 or cut it to 1. And then it's back to a 3-point lead. And then you're kind of 63-60 there for what felt like forever. Council hits another huge three-pointer, passed by Brown. Brown was great passing in this game. Dinkins makes the dunk. It's a 4-point game. Still not out of the weeds yet. Then it's a battle of free throws back and forth. And Bonaventure was able, really to lock down. I mean, if you think about it, 66-62, and then, a made free throw by Edwards at 66-63. Hinton making those 2 free throws pretty much sealed the deal there. Crawford missed the 3, and that was it. But there were some lockdown possessions, obviously, where you needed them from, 3 minutes on. And I thought that the offensive exit had a couple of odd, the Brown turnover hurt you at 12-17. Again, the Bonnies didn't turn the ball over a lot, but there were key spots where they couldn't execute offensively in the second half. Those things are going to happen. That's not a hate. That's just, those things are going to happen. But on those where you didn't execute consistently over maybe a minute to 2 minutes, 2 minutes to 4 minutes, the chip away started happening. Then Bonnie answered, and it was a 3 here, and it was a 3 there, and it was a big play by Council in the end one, and then that beautifully designed play coming out of the 12. So those were some of the things I took away. As far as individuals go, I mean, obviously, you had to have a lot from the starting 5 in this game going in. Brown did not score a lot. I'm okay with that. Again, I don't dislike Noel Brown's game, but I think he's one of these guys on this Bonnet team who should not be the first option over and over and over again. I can't just, bring him out with the high screen and then we play around with the ball and wait till he posts up. Okay, he's finally there. Dump it down to him no matter what. He's got a one-on-one or he's got somebody helping from deep. He can't be like, the offense should not go through Noel Brown. If you want to bring him out to screen, you want to post him, it's okay, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep going and going and going. When they continue to feed him, and lack of movement is when the offense gets in trouble. I thought this game particularly, he was a little bit better moving both sides of the post and passing the ball out, getting involved, moving and cutting on the baseline. That's what happened in that under 12 minute that I talked about where Jones got the 3 and banged it home from the corner. And Brown, he gives you 7 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals in this game. Now, every game is different. Every game tells its own story. But in this particular game, the way they had to execute offensively against this Duquesne defense, this is what you want out of Brown. You don't want 15 and 10 out of him if he's going to not execute and he's going to lose the ball 2 or 3 times. He had 1 turnover in this game and 2 or 3 in big spots, by the way. Or get double teamed and then the possession goes, okay. We don't need that. Hinton had 5. Again, he was a little controlled. Your big guns, Moore, Jones, and Council were the guys who were really, really great. It's almost getting to the point for me where I think if Council, Jones, and Moore, and I know it's hard to do this every game because defenses are going to adjust. They can blanket you and force other people to beat you. I understand the game in that regard. But I feel like if Council, Jones, and Moore are on, this Bonnet team can make a run in the A-10 tournament. I think that's what it boils down to. And Brown and Hinton are serviceable, at times great, but mostly good role players. And then can you get enough off the bench? That's in terms of the scoring overall production. And smarts on both ends, execution, and we might be back to that mid to high 60s Bonnet basketball of, hey, lock it down, get a couple of threes, offensive execution, the Schmidt playbook comes out and the papers fly in the air. Hey, what one are we going to do to trick them? Maybe it's that type of thing here where they get into the back end of February. So if you're going to grab the Lightning and stuff it in the bottle and hope that you can make a run in the A-10 tournament, this, I think, is a good place to start. It was nice to see the students back. I mean, they were decent in terms of the noise. I thought even a little quieter, although I guess everybody here probably has high standards, right? But mostly this was a game where you won on the fast break, you won in the paint, you won in the playbook, you won with your starters, you won with shots and execution, both ends of the floor, defensively getting what you needed to do, making up for things there, making up for the free throws. The rebounding was brutal. Usually if you get out rebounded by 15, you're going to be in a lot more trouble. But again, lower score sheet, lower box score, like Schmidt said in the post game. They make up for a lot of stuff, and away you go. Bonaventure 70-63, went a couple minutes long here today. Took the weekend off. That's why I didn't have the video out to you either Saturday or Sunday. Taking a few weekends off in a row. Feels pretty good. I usually don't do that. I'm not really allowed to do that because of the crazy world that I live in with the sales and posting and shares and videos and all the sports stuff. But sometimes if I only have to talk about one thing, I think, and then I can come back on Monday. People stream, people go on demand, people look at stuff when they look at stuff. So I'll get this up right now and you can start your week with it. Thanks to Batavia Downs Gaming, CH Insurance, and Western OTB. I do want to make one more post here, one more plug. We're charging forward here on the Shane Callaghan Memorial Lounge. Make sure that you just Google Shane Callaghan Memorial Lounge, or you can go to easily the netcommunity.sbu.edu and plug in the search there for Shane Callaghan. We're trying to get to that mark, man, 50 grand. We're slowly getting there. I've been posting, I've been mentioning, I've been sharing. Make sure, again, if every Bonaventure grad from the journalism program, you put together $3 or $5, something, just to put towards this thing. We want to put something in place forever to remember Shane Callaghan. So make sure you go do that. One of my truly great friends from St. Bonnie, of course. You can make a donation right there online, and it's just great. I mean, you can capture his spirit. You can capture the journalism pride that he had. You can capture Bonaventure all in one. And we miss Shane so much. So make sure that you donate today. Just go ahead and Google Shane Callaghan Memorial Lounge, or right there on the sbu.edu site. You can find it. Even just typing in what I told you earlier, the netcommunity.sbu.edu, and the Shane Callaghan search, it'll come right up. So make sure you donate, even $5. Everybody does that. We're going to get to that number like that. And please do share it all over the social pages as well. Mike Lindsley with you, as I always tell you, enjoy the games.